assignment in computer animation, and what we're going to do today is be animating fire and flames and doing a keyframe type animation. And so this will be kind of what our ending result will look like. In order to start this animation, I'll just go ahead and start a new project. And what we want to do is take our rectangle shape drawing tool, and we'd like to make a series of rectangles to start with to kind of draw the general shape. We'll make them bright red for now, and then we'll get into editing the color later. But just on a new layer, let's create a series of rectangles. They should be different heights, different widths. And just kind of going up and down. And have them go all the way off the side of your page. Okay, so now once we kind of have this general type of shape done, we can go ahead and pull each one of these top sides of the rectangles down. So we'll just click around in the middle with our selection arrow and make these dip down at different heights. Make some of them go deeper, some of them not as deep. Down a bit more, just a little bit. Alright, and then once you have that done, now we can go ahead and try and edit the shape a little bit more, the corners, the curves. So I can maybe bring out parts like this. I can take the top and move it a little bit more. Also take these kind of curves and try and bend them just a bit more. So I think I'm missing an anchor point on that one, so it won't quite let me do that, but that works a little bit better. So we're just going to keep going around. Move this out a little bit. And keep kind of playing with and tweaking the shapes until you have somewhat of a believable sort of a flame going on. Move that part in, maybe this one out a little bit. Shift that like that. Okay, so we're getting there. That is pretty good. So that's looking pretty good for our flame kind of base graphic. So we'll go ahead and take this once we have that all set, and we'll convert it into a graphic. We'll call this fire. And inside of this graphic, we will want to go inside, and here we're going to do a frame-by-frame animation of this actual flame. And it won't be all that hard. We're just going to use our selection arrow to kind of manipulate each step of the way. But right now would be a good time to go ahead and fill our gradient here. So what we'll do is at one end, we'll make our color a red. And then at the other end, we'll go for this side. There we go. That's a pretty good red. And at the other side, we'll go with a yellow. So let's get this red to yellow gradient going here, and I'll take my fill bucket and go ahead and fill that in. Then I'll take my gradient transforming tool, click on this gradient, and then pull the corner circle until my gradient's changed the way it is. So we want it to be oriented more vertically than horizontally. And I might just adjust this gradient a little bit more. I might take the yellow and maybe move it a little further down so it's more on the yellow side than the orange side. And I might take this red and just turn it a little bit darker. I want like a brighter red. There we go. Alright, so that should do. And now, like I said, what we'll do is we'll just keyframe animate this. So after this first frame, we're only going to do like 7 frames or so. We'll press F6. So now on this second keyframe, we're just going to take this shape and kind of manipulate it a little bit. So maybe I'll take this flame, kind of pull it over here, maybe flip the shape that way a little bit. You know, maybe make this kind of jump out. Kind of moving in this direction. You know, I can bring this curve, this corner out here more, and then bring this point up maybe, and bring them up just a bit. Maybe then bring this over, maybe bring it down a little bit here, maybe bring that point back. Okay, so just make sure that you try and edit or do something to each one of the kind of peaks in your flames, and the valleys too you want to think about, so that go back to where that was before, so that when I comma and period, use my comma and period keys to go back and forth, that I see change everywhere, that nothing stays quite exactly the same. So that looks pretty good. So then I'll just go ahead, press F6 again, and repeat the same process. So I want to make sure that, again, I kind of take, and extend the height of some of these pieces, and then maybe bring down some other parts of the flames. So maybe, bring this further in. Curving this back this way, maybe bringing this kind of here, maybe shift the curve a little bit, maybe make that pop up, maybe change these sides too a little bit here. I don't think I've done that quite yet. Okay, so let's just back and forth. I think I see a couple valleys that I did not really change. I'm going to take this point and pull it way up, I think. Yeah, that works good. And then the other thing you want to think about too is possibly punching holes in the flames, because sometimes there are holes in flames, and also making some kind of tapering off new spots. So on this next one, what I'm going to do is we're going to again kind of manipulate the shapes somewhat. So I'll make that maybe go up, maybe these come down, up, down, just to get a little bit of a shift change in the shape. Bring this side up a little bit, back again, bring that out a tad. How about this shape here? I think I want to bring this one in, down a little bit. I'm going to bring this one back down. Go up a little bit that side. Okay, so like I said, maybe we'll take our eraser tool and kind of draw an eraser shape in here a little bit. Could be like a little gap in the flames. It can kind of give it a little more just effect to have some little pieces kind of cut away from flames here. So, and then maybe in the next frame, I go back to kind of having that filled in. So I'll go back and, not kind of fill it in that way, but rather I could just kind of stretch my shape closed again to kind of fill in all those gaps. Alright. And like we said, we want to shoot for 7 or 8 frames. So this will probably be the last one I do as a part of the demo video, and then we'll go ahead and kind of skip ahead a little bit with think you probably get the idea by this point. Again, we're just going to shift these points a little bit more. Make this flame really kind of go crazy over here. So let's click off to the side, bring it back down. Oops, I want to pull the whole thing. I'll pull this down, maybe change the frame shape a little bit like that. Drop things down. Alright, so now let's look at what we got. So again, and then that last one, I might take my eraser and still just have like a tiny little hole erased here. Again, you could get those going in a couple places, a couple little holes in the flames, and then maybe even taking my, my brush tool and kind of drawing, you know, sort of a little shape here that could even fly off of it. But so I'll take those 5 for now. 5 to 7, you know, is a good mark. You know, 7 will be a little more realistic. 5, you might see some of the repeating of the frames actually happen. So I'm going to go ahead on my main timeline. I'm going to extend my animation to about 10 frames here. We'll add in a couple new layers, 3 new layers to be exact. What we'll then do is we actually want one of the layers to be a background layer, so we'll pull that down, we'll label it BG. And the other 3, what we're going to do is just copy this kind of movie clip. So let's watch what we have here first. So we've got kind of our frame-by-frame animation of the fire kind of jumping around. That works well, and then what I'm going to do here is zoom out just a little bit. I'm going to bring down this flame animation just a tad. Actually, that doesn't matter quite yet. What I do need to do though is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go Edit, Copy, and then I'm going to go to a new layer and I'm going to paste it. Alright, what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to enlarge it. So this is going to be kind of like our flame that's up in the front area of the stage. Make sure it goes off the bottom edge of your stage. Now if I preview this, now you can see how we have layers to the flames going. Alright, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this layer 4 at the top here and paste in the center again, another new one. This one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to transform. I'm going to flip it horizontally so that way it's reversed from the way the original one was. And now we'll see different section kind of look at the flames this way. And I'm just going to kind of drag them down in front so that they are staggered, layered backwards. And this one, kind of our original one, will have kind of move up just a tad. This one will move up just a bit because I could see that little white space there, and then the one that's all the way up in front, again I could see just a little white space there. So now I think that this should be pretty good. It looks like that back one I want to move it down just a bit. So I'm going to take this and move it down a tad. Let's see what we got there. Okay, maybe the middle one should also move up just a bit. Let's see, so now we have a couple places. I can keep messing with this until it seems like I have the spacing just right. I'm going to move this up, and I was going to move the other ones down. Alright, so we're getting closer here. I think what it really is the back one is too far up. There we go. So you can't really see any of that white space in there. So that is okay and good. The last thing really is we did not fill in the background layer. So we're going to go to this background layer and we are just going to draw a square around the stage. We're going to use the same fill gradient that we had going for our flames. You could really feel free to get creative at this point, but for this particular example I'm just going to kind of take the same gradient, flip it around forwards here, and this time I'm going to actually come darker with the red, less on the yellow, so that I have a little more contrast in the back of this scene. I think the red contrasts a little bit better like this. So there we go, and we have pretty much our finished fire, playing with fire animation here. So if you want to add anything else to this animation, you can otherwise keep it simple, but it's always good to see some creativity in these assignments. I wish you the best of luck and have fun as always.